Hey, welcome back. All right, so in this tutorial, we're going to finish up making our model by applying our materials that we've created. Now, one of the things I want to do is kind of revisit our Milanote game concept that we put together for our game and kind of talk through some of the selections for the materials that I have done. So let me go ahead and pop in there and show you what I'm talking about. So here is the Milanote. If you remember all the way back when we talked about game design and coming up with our game design document and finding our inspirations, when I started putting together my game, I wanted sort of a kind of a rustic, sort of a rusty, kind of old world, fallen down civilizations, just kind of old things that have been around for a long time type of concept for this game. And that's kind of what's pushed my decision on some of the materials that I have selected for creating this. Now, I haven't actually got into creating the entire world, but now that I'm getting ready to create an asset that's going to be used quite a bit, this is something I want to start thinking about. And we may need to try out different materials until you get the look that you want. The other shortfall, of course, is we're doing this with free assets and things that we can find for free on the internet. So you may not always be able to stick true to your design, and you may need to go back in and make some adjustments if you're going to continue using free assets. Presumably at a studio, you would have staff that would be creating your materials for you, creating textures, someone that would be creating the models and those type of things so that they could stick with the overall concept and look and feel of the game. That may not necessarily be true when you're doing this on your own and you're working with free assets and not creating every single thing that's available for your game. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump back in and apply some of these materials that we have created so that you can kind of see how to do that. Even though I've talked through a couple times about setting up material slots on our models. Here is our base platform. This is the inspiration platform that I started with. Okay, we're going to do the same type of thing. We're going to apply these different elements. So with it selected, I'm going to go here to my modeling. Okay, and if you want to hide these things over here, you can right click on the top up here and you can dock these to sidebar. So it gives yourself some more space to work with if that's something you want to do. And that'll keep them over here. So if you really need to pull them up, you can click on them again and they'll come up. All right, so now that we have it selected, I'm going to go to my attributes and I'm going to do edit materials. Okay. And remember when we set this up, we set it up so that it had UVs, right? So let me go ahead and cancel on this real quick and I'll pull that up real quick too. So on our UV editor, we have these different UVs. These are UV islands. So these different UV islands are going to allow us to do really simple assignments for our materials, okay? Now, one of the things that I am going to talk about real quick before we really get into this is when I went in and played around with this right here to force these to line up and be straight, it did kind of mess up the model. So when I played with vertices and I said you don't usually want to do that, this is one of the reasons why. If we take a look, you see how this is not so straight right there. Okay, and if we were to put a material on here that requires some straight edging, so if we were to put something like this over here, you would see that it would be all kind of crooked and funky looking. So there is an actual easy fix for that. Inside of tools like Maya and Blender, they kind of have tools that you can use, but inside of Unreal Engine, it was a little bit more complicated to do that. So before I go into actually assign the materials, if you've done the same thing I did and you had to kind of force this to work and you moved the vertices around like I did, this is a way to fix it. I'm going to select all of the UV islands, and then over here I'm going to hit the unwrap button. Okay, and it's going to realign everything again, and that's okay, but I am going to connect this so that it's facing the same direction as this one, because one of the things about our UVs and materials, when we assign materials, I want to be able to use the same material on this. Let me go ahead and accept. I want to use the same material on this one as I'm going to use on this one because these are my two rails, right? But one is vertical and one is horizontal. I would have to actually assign two different materials to get this to kind of work correctly. So before we do too much more, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and hit the W key so I can get my little gizmo. And I'm going to rotate this back 90 degrees. And this is the front edge. I want it to line up with the front edge over here. So we're going to rotate this 90 degrees. And there's this little piece down here that's in between. I could leave it there, but it doesn't matter. We can just move it out of the way too. I'm going to grab this, slide this down under here, and we'll fix everything here to get it all to fit. I'm going to select it all. I'm going to scale everything down just a little bit to get it all to fit inside here. Whoa, that's more than I wanted. Again, being all the way out like that, it makes it kind of funky. Okay, so something like that. I can get it to all fit in here. And make sure this is sitting in here too. And this is that piece that goes around the display there. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to pull this off over a bit. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Now, if I go back into my sandbox, one of the things that did happen is now this is kind of all crooked. I want to kind of straighten it out. So I'm going to go back in, rotate this, negative 90 degrees. And that's going to force me to have to probably move some things around. We may need to rescale everything to get it all to fit. Yeah, we're going to have to rescale it one more time. Come on. I feel like the tools are a little clunky here still. And that is inside the 0 to 1 that we want it to be in. Go ahead and hit save. Go back. It's still a little crooked. Could be because I didn't. So here I'm going to try to straighten this edge along with that edge right there. All right, that's a little bit better. So now if I put something that's horizontal, I can play around with it to get it to have the look I want. And we can also see that that little kind of funky curvy thing has gone away. So now this should be more square as we need it to be. All right, so every once in a while we got to fix a model. This is one of those cases. I'm going to do a save all. All right, so now with it selected, we're going to go ahead and go into Edit Materials. And we're going to do this by selection mode. Instead of brush, we're going to do this by UV island. Okay. And if I select a UV island, it will completely highlight all those UVs that go with it. So I'm going to start with these rails right here. And I'm thinking that I may want this to be kind of a wood look. I'm going to make this whole thing wood and see how that looks. I may change these back to this color material because I kind of like this too. But we'll see about the metal here in a minute. So once I've got that selected, again, got ahead of myself. I do this every time. I'm going to apply some materials. And I know I want 1, 2, 3, 4, and probably 5 total. So right now I've got 1, so I need to add 4 more. Okay. And I need to add some materials to this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right here where it says World Grid Material, I'm going to hit the down arrow or actually I'm going to go into my materials, I think, instead of hitting the down arrow, go into wood. I think for the base here, so I'm going to make this all the base, and this one will be the base original one right here. So this large area is what I'm going to use for my index 0. It's going to change the entire model to index 0 because that's what the material is right now. And what I kind of worked with was this kind of green rough planks. And I have a material instance that I put together for that from the last couple tutorials. And I'm going to hit this arrow button right here. Now, it's rotated in a direction that I don't want it to be in. I want it to rotate. I want it to be this direction instead. So I want to change it from the vertical to the horizontal direction for mine. So if I select this, remember the rotation angle. I'm going to change this to 90 degrees, so 0.25. I'm going to save it. Go back into my sandbox and just rotate everything to a 90 degrees in the direction that I want it to be. Now, for the islands here, I'm going to go ahead and, again, I don't know why I keep trying to do a search button. I have this wood peeling paint right here, and I think this one might be good for that. I'm going to select my material instance, and I'm going to hit the little button there for that. And up here, since I already have those selected, I'm going to pick the wood peeling paint. Hit accept on that, and it didn't take it. Ah, that's why. So I need to go here to the wood peeling paint, and don't forget, when you actually select something, my bad on this one, hold the control button, select them both. We need to assign that active material. There we go. And that's kind of the look I'm thinking about. I may need to go in and adjust it to adjust the material instance, but I'm going to do that after I kind of get everything kind of set up on here. Now, the next piece I'm going to want to do is this one right here. So I'm going to select that piece. And for that one, I was thinking maybe some worn tabletop, something more solid. So this kind of worn tabletop look to it. And this may not be what I end up going with, but in the long run, I'll start with it, and we can always go back and change the different materials once we get the initial pieces set up. Okay, so next I'm going to change this to my red glass. So it was actually red glass, and I want the glow one. Did I not make one? Made one. All right there. So I'm going to select it. Again, change this to my glowing glass, and I'm going to assign the material. So now I got that kind of look through it. And then the last thing I'm going to change is this piece right here. So if I select it, it should select all of it because we made it all one piece. For that material slot, it's going to be index number 4. And I have this wood peeling paint right here. Same one that I used down here. So since I'm already using it there, I could have just used that one. But I'm going to assign a different material to it. Maybe plank flooring, just for a temporary hold. That doesn't look right. Fine grained wood, there we go. I'm going to use this material instance here. That in there. And then I'm going to assign it. Now everything's been assigned. One thing to note, whatever we end up using here on this platform control panel, we're going to have to make it a double-sided material. And the reason is, so I'm going to hit accept, is we can kind of, oh, that's weird. Why did it do that? Okay, so got a little bit distracted by the issue I had with the wrong material showing up on here. This material is single-sided, and we can see that because we can actually see through the part of the model. If we look here at the shadow, you see how you have this light through here, so the light is shining through the glass, and it is not solid. We can actually see the grid material through there. If I grab this key and drag the key over here to kind of be behind it, you can see the key through the model. So we want to fix that, right? So how we're going to fix that is simple. We're just going to open up that material. In this case, I switched it to this wood peeling paint. With the wood peeling paint base selected over here, so the output, we're going to select two-sided. Hit save, do a file save all. Go back in, and now you can see that it is solid. We can't see the key through there, and the shadow is no longer showing the hole through the material. So that's how to fix that. Now let's go ahead and talk about giving it names here so that if we do decide to come back at a later point and we want to change the material that we're using, either here in this viewport or in the scene itself, so that we have a default setup of one of these platforms, and then in the actual world when we use it as a individual platforms, because we'll have more than one in the way we set our game up, we could make each one distinct and unique by coming into the viewport here and in the details section changing out the various materials in here. So a couple different ways to do that, but what we want to do is make sure that we know what these are. And right now these are just named slot. So let's go ahead and change them from whatever the slot name is. This one says world grid material, and of course it also took on the actual pieces there. So this one right here, the top one, world grid material, this is actually the platform base. So that's that big section right here. These are the rails. Wow, okay. Seriously. Don't know why it's fighting me so hard today, but it is. This is the control panel. This is the screen. We can call it control screen or screen, whatever works best for you. And this is the screen. What do we want to call this? We'll call this screen outline. Something like that. Because that's that piece that goes around up here. Okay, so now we've got everything renamed. We can save it. Go back into our sandbox. We can see under the details that everything now, for the slot name, if I were to drag this back out, the slot name actually matches up with what we gave it. So we could, if we wanted to, change something. So if I wanted to use this particular material here, I can go find it for my rails. And then if I select this one here, go back in, since I've changed the rails out or selected it here in the content drawer here, now I can just hit the little arrow button, change them out. So now that it kind of matches, it has a wood base, metal section there. And then I can also fix this, change it out with something else. Okay, so that's it for this tutorial. We've now got material slots set up. You can play around with it until you get the look you want. You can change out the different materials pretty easily, either inside of the actual world, or you can do it inside of the static mesh viewport for the static mesh so that it changes it by default. Really depends on how you want to do it, if you want to make a permanent change or if you just wanted to make temporary changes inside the world. Again, if you have any questions, please put the questions or comments down in the comment section. I will get back to you on those. If you liked what you saw in this tutorial, please go ahead and hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe so you can keep up with the next tutorial. The next tutorial is going to be making this platform move. We are going to now make it a moving platform, and we're going to use a couple different methods to do that. So don't forget to tune in and catch that. I'll see you next time, and thanks for playing.